I will use both sides. That side is just very, just to be able to follow my points, what I will present, but mostly what is going on will be here. And I picked the wrong color as well, orange with the wall. So, yeah, I can slowly start. Hi, I'm Fehime. I'm a Medienkunst fellow, a game developer, creative technologist, and a playwright. So how I started theater was in high school. I wrote a theater piece when I was 15, 16 years old, and then it was staged in Istanbul City Theater and Izmir State Theater in total like 6 years. And then I wanted to continue my education on more something more technical, so I decided for computer science. And in the end, I wanted to merge art, storytelling, and technology, and there I found games. And so I studied games technology for my master's. And so that I was more in this type of projects where I can merge these two phenomena together, both during my education and also after graduation. I will later also talk about my partner in my Medienkunst fellowship. Is a theater group here in Germany, in Bonn. So I picked the projects to present today more based on our work with Fringe Ensemble. So where we actually try to bring game technology into theater and try to create a concept around it. So to be able to really explain my work, luckily I had to make some kind of portfolio video a few years ago for some event, and I think this is a pretty clearly telling what I've been doing so far.
Hi, my name is Fehime Seven and I'm a developer. I will briefly talk about what inspires my work in games. The biggest influence on my inspiration comes from the challenges that I face during a development phase, especially the challenges occurring while new media and new technology elements come together. That stimulates my work, gives me motivation to push the limits and elevate the end product. I like to explore what we are capable of doing with new techniques, algorithms, or devices, and what kind of new forms we can produce with all these to eventually create alternative ways of perception towards the content. The specific sources of inspiration are quite varied because the challenges are quite varied as well. It can be creating a VR simulation of the XR cinema, which as a concept will be the first example of its kind, or a multiplayer VR escape room experience. The difficulty of implementing a networking script is also the same element that lets you come up with creative programming. Or the desire of making a pop-up book with hand-drawn images for a mobile virtual reality device with no 6 degrees of freedom. Or the time constraint in a game jam. It always triggers good teamwork and communication. Sometimes taking an important responsibility is a challenge. In a research project that merges AI, advanced graphics programming, sound engineering, motion capture, and VR, being the main person controlling and implementing one of those stations is quite a challenge. But it inspires me to come up with a hack to make a multiplayer VR experience without needing the networking. The challenge can be even a pandemic coming in the middle of a production phase of a big project. But it gives a chance to try to return a whole gamified theater performance software and by making a custom mobile app. And I'm quite excited to face with new challenges in the future. Looking forward to the inspiration they will bring.
Yes. Yeah, so this was me, and all the projects that I've done since like the last 2 years are not included in the video. And so that's why how we came together with Fringe Ensemble, and in 2019 for Map to Utopia project I will talk about later. So to create this collaboration between games, new media technologies and theater. And our fellowship was also focusing on this research phase, what we can do with all these devices. Some of them I also bring today. And what does it mean? Like in the end, is really digital and this analog theater really the classic and the new, is it coming together in which forms? Does it work or it doesn't work? So I will show some of the projects we did. And first one was Map to Utopia. Map to Utopia was actually a long project. In the end, we had several iterations with different focus and different different challenges based on the time. Also, mainly because of the pandemic. So I will also quickly show the different iterations. The first one was in Istanbul, in a neighborhood called Yeldirmeni. There, the main focus was to create a location-based experience merged with theater performance. And this location-based game was more like a treasure hunt in the streets of this neighborhood. We put people into groups.
Utopia is a
and we actually rented just a shop, an empty shop in the neighborhood, and then start to doing interviews with the people living there. It's also a very unique place that it is one of the oldest neighborhoods with these proper buildings in Istanbul. It has different religions still living actively in the neighborhood. The community is there. So historically, from the having the different representations of the society, it was a quite rich place. So we were using all these stories as our experience points in the street for the treasure hunt. And for that we made a AR app. So each point you had to unlock these markers, scan the markers, and then unlock the story and the password. So each group was supposed to collect the all passwords and come back to the shop to see the theatrical performance in the end. First, we tried to use as much as the existing structures that I can use for AR scanning. So I could use some graffitis and some stuff from the street, but for most we had to create our own AR markers. And yeah, all the stories again were giving more information about the location, about the relationships, connections, etc. Yes, and when they come with the code, everybody was seated around a dinner table, and then the theater performance starts. Yes. I will quickly also show the other versions of Map2Utopia. This was quite a challenge for all of us, but I think in the end it was also a lot of inspiration.
Sevgili insanları, bugün size farklı bir evrenin kapılarını açmak için. Bu evreni bir semt sakin ya da bir şehir tasarımcısı olarak dahil olacağız.
Merhaba, ben Mimoza. Ganyan bayi işletiyorum şehirde.
23 yaşındayım, oyunculuk mezunuyum.
Bu şehre aslında ben üniversite okumak için geldim.
Kendileri savaştan kaçıp buraya geldim.
So what they are introducing is their characters actually. We created the whole Map2Utopia universe, including 4 different districts, like getting the start point from Yeldeirmeni. One of the districts was the green district, and then we took as a model different regions, and from the characteristics we created 5 inhabitants of this district, and then gave them some problems to solve and some reasons that they have to communicate with each other and find a solution with this. So this was like living together simulation merged with live action role play from the game terminology. And for theater people, I'm sure it was never clear enough what the title this should be. They were always even unsure, is this theater or not? And so this version had to be fully on Zoom. So the app, the mobile app, the very early version I made something more like networking, where I was controlling, sending some signals, because they are receiving messages throughout the performance, but it was always some risks and bugs. So we changed it to more like no admin panel. So we gave them some passwords for them to unlock throughout itself.
Ben 2 senedir bu semtte oturuyorum.
Bu duvardan.
Some passwords to solve.
Dans salonunda buyursunlar gelsinler
And then,
çocuklar.
yeah.
Onlara çay kahve de ikram edeyim.
Bu kundaklama olduğu düşünülen yangınlarla ilgili kendisi bir şey söylemek istememiş. Şimdi buradayken ben mesela onu dinlemek isterim.
So there are like open discussions, one-to-one discussions. So it is in the end a lot of this.
Daha önce benzerini rastlamadığımız bir deneyim. Önümüzde açacağı yolu.
Yeah, and in the end some AR moment where each character is represented as a node in this whole universe. And in between we see our actor performances as well. Yes. Very quickly again, this was the hybrid version. I will not show much about it, but here it was a bit less restrictions for Corona, like people could come still sit with the masks and etc. And there were the cabins, soundproof cabins where the actors are sitting. That's also the participants from Zoom can hear and listen, and the people sitting in the room can also hear each other. So this was the hybrid version of the same concept. Of course, for each concept we had to modify a bit. So for this one we had to, or like we wanted to also include some like gift package somebody's receiving, so it's more materials in the hand, and so it can create also different ways of communication and exchange. And as the last Medienkunst. Yes. And then at some point,
Damit haben wir für heute Abend unser erstes Etappenziel erreicht.
we realized
Wir
that
wollten herausfinden, wie
Zoom is not creative enough for us. Like, it doesn't give any creative freedom to us. So for the Medienkunst universe, we created some, like a web platform for the video conference. So each user can just drag his or her own avatar around. Each region has a different sound if we need, and different stream screens. It's like this hybrid space translated into the web. So I wanted to show all these to come to the point of like why today I picked the projects from like the projects I did so far, the ones that more represents that where we focused on creating new forms of exchange and communication. So from the beginning of Medienkunst, that was becoming also a big part of my career. And all this was possible thanks to these new technologies what we are able to use. And every time, each iteration with different setup, with different possibilities, it was always triggering different emotions for the participants, a different way of communication, of course. And especially with the hybrid version, in the end, we were also keeping it still open so they can just talk with the ones. Sometimes they just meet random people on the way. They have no enough time, and in the end we hear like, oh, what was that person? I want to go meet, but it's also hard to find each other again. Yeah. So this was Medienkunst, and later we continued again more projects with Fringe that has the theater impact on a gamified experience. So Citizen Map was a location-based city tour, audio walk kind of, and in some points we had the live performance. The actors were in some of the locations, and you could sometimes see a live performance, sometimes hear a story, again based on collecting real stories, people living there or used to live there. And for that, I created at first a 3D mobile app. So the whole environment, back then Google was still providing this beautiful SDK where I can actually really, this is Bad Godesberg in Bonn, and it's really one-to-one real model of the city, the height of the buildings and the shapes, the setup. It was really nice. I'm so sad they are not supporting Unity anymore, so I cannot use it. But
there's a tool for that, but I can tell you afterwards.
Really, for Unity, I can still use it?
Yeah, you can export OpenStreetMaps to OBJs.
It's not this good. OpenStreetMap.
Yeah, okay, okay, that's what that was.
Yeah, it has something, but never shows all the buildings, only some. But I would like to see for sure. So the first version was again creating this in-between space with the public space and digital space, performance space together, and try to create a new representation for it, and again create a new relationship between the people. It wasn't like people could just randomly pop up in the shop and take the instructions, download the app, and go explore. And when they are done, they could come back to the shop and sit around the table again and talk and draw their own journey on a map. One desire for this project was also being able to record what they're doing and then use some data visualization tools in the end. But it never came to the presentable level, unfortunately. But I wanted to mention it because this was also an important consideration, thinking about being a citizen, the citizenship idea, being part of this public space, and when you're in this open area, that what you're doing, is it your own privacy, or would it be important to share your data in a public space that you spent? Yeah, recently I just had to update it, so you can now also download it. And this is not, you don't have to be in Bad Godesberg to listen to stories. It's like city stories a bit, but you can just listen. It's just the audio walk at the moment. And then yesterday we saw a bit the tour here around some points. The City Stories project was our last big project with Fringe, and yeah, basically it's an audio walk where you need to unlock the location, each story you need to be on the spot, and some AR and yeah, very different personal stories again from the Bonn community. Here the story collection phase was again very personal, and we wanted to encourage people to give their stories, to share it with other people and hear from other people, and know that you are making the history of future from today, like what you're doing, what you have about this location and what we're representing there, it's going to be history in the future. So this was the understanding of Stadtmuseum Bonn. We tried to create some playful moments on the spots as well. Yes, and oh, sorry. And with Fringe, we also made a hackathon where we could use all these devices. And the point after that, we wanted to create a whole new network, meet with people, so we can actually come up with more projects and try to make them real in the future. And we streamed it on our Discord channel. I can later share our Discord channel if you want to join. There we also share what is going on about playful media, like we share the events, we keep in touch, inform each other if you would like to be a part of it. And yeah, here there was some nice results. One of them was this AR. I'm sad it is not fully visible, but this is a street in, should I quickly switch it to this side? Very quickly maybe. Is it working? No. Why? Okay, it's not working. I don't know. I hope it works when I take it back at least. Okay. And this one? Yes, okay. So for some reason they only want to use this. If I increase the... Maybe a bit, but okay, whatever. So this is from an AR glass, Magic Leap. So this is from Martin after the hackathon. He wanted to work more on the avatar idea of creating avatars in applications to use in AR glasses. Like in the background, you see the real streets, and then how it would be merged with the different avatar types, and how to create this mixture between these real human beings and the 3D avatars. So this was just a small prototype, but it was interesting. So this was like a nice result for us after it. Yes, so to wrap up the theater and technology part of the works, this was something when I was still in high school, when I was writing the play in the dramaturg Ceren Ercan's home. I remember there was like a postcard in her fridge. It was written "Was für ein Theater." Probably she brought it in some theater festival somewhere in Europe, in Germany probably. And for years and years it never, the image was always in my mind. And later I searched it on Google and I found it, but nobody could explain what it really is, but it makes sense, it explains itself. And it was also a discussion, all of these projects through the whole, all phases. What is theater, what is not, to call something theater, what we need to do. And so what I could sum up in the end, what they care is liveness and togetherness. And in the end, theater is a public space and it's a public event, and it needs to bring people together and create some form of exchange. And for them, liveness is so important. It has to be live, it has to be happening in that moment. So we were always also trying to keep this, put some live element as much as possible. But for me, for the next examples from my portfolio, I more picked from the examples that brings togetherness with all these new devices that you can make. So I worked in Macropole, is a company in Copenhagen. They are frontiers in XR field. And there I worked almost 2 years while I was studying for my master's for games. I made, I don't know how many crazy projects there. And it was always, like I made something so that they can go to the TV show called Løvens Hule, like the lions, something. Yes. So, yeah, we were in the TV studio with the VR headsets around, so they were trying to sell this XR cinema idea. So that was really nice, crazy moments for me. But I picked 2 projects that that we can mention this togetherness and different forms of that can create a bit this new or different forms of exchange and communication. yes, now on this side. First, maybe wormhole. Wormhole is basically actually a multiplayer VR escape room project. Unfortunately, I don't have a full footage from the in-game, but luckily I found this. I recorded them while playing my old colleagues, and sometimes, yes. So what is new about this game, thanks to VR, like you can actually give them different powers, some special characteristics, and what they can do in this virtual world is not equal. So they have some different abilities. You see now only one player could open up this portal between times and different spaces, and what they can access is different, what they can do is different. So they have to create a very good communication and create a new playful moment. So for this one, from the design perspective, it was also really nice to think about that. They are now, they have different powers, they have different personalities, so challenge them a bit on that to create this different communication. So this was Wormhole. It unfortunately never published. In the end, we had to stop the production. Still, when it was in still it was some prototype form, but yeah, it was for me it was a really fulfilling process. Mostly painful with the technical challenges, like writing a networking multiplayer game, and yeah, Photon was not like this good back then. Photon is a multiplayer game making library. So this was Wormhole, and then I can also show the Singularity. Singularity I really love. This is was more like, again, a research phase where we actually merged AI, VR, wavelength sound synthesis, some kind of new sound technology for back then, and some mocap data. We collaborated with a dance group called Leture, I think, and at the beginning we recorded them, the mocap data from the dances, and then we trained our AI with this recorded dance data. And then we brought everything together in a VR environment. The AI agents, they were then doing something after trained with all this dance moves. And actually in the... okay, he's speaking English, sorry. Yeah. So this is the performance moment. We did one or two, I guess 2 performances to just test it and present it a bit. So this is more like a ritualistic moment where you're together in the stage with the performer, and we pick one audience, and they have to share. They share this virtual environment and also this physical space together, and they go through a new dance, ritualistic dance, and some later on also the dancer was creating some different moments for the audience inside. So yeah, this was another example that I can show where we use these new technologies to create a new form of exchange. After Macropole, actually there are really cool projects for Macropole. I don't know in the end if I have time, I can show that not necessarily that we bring people together. But another one, this is one of a game project I made. This is, I'm in love with this project, but it's not necessarily about creating a new exchange, but it is inspired from a special community in Brazil. So their togetherness and their uniqueness inspired us to turn it into a game. So my friend Sisel, she is the director of also the documentary called Cacai Balao, based on this special community living in Brazilian favelas and illegally making hot air balloons. It's an ancient tradition making the balloons, and they are not this balloons. They are like as big as this building. They're huge, and it's also part of the culture. It's a competition. Who's going to make the biggest one? Who's going to make the most shiniest one and be able to put it up before police catch them, or before they burn a forest? Because when they come down, they also make a lot of trouble. That's why it is actually illegal. But they love it. They ruin their lives to make this balloon. So the documentary tells about the real community. And then we come together in 2018, I guess, and we're like, this is actually a very good game mechanic, because when the balloon is coming down, they are racing to catch it. Who catches it, keeps it. It's also the respect point you earn a lot from the community. Okay, you're the faster, you catched it, you put the most effort into it. So we wanted to gamify a bit this whole special community. First we tried some VR applications. She was still in Brazil for shootings, found some drone, scanned the favelas. We made a photogrammetry model and put it in a VR environment. I was like trying to write something to simulate a balloon movement with the VR, but we realized that it's too much motion sickness. And then the game concept we wanted to create. So there was a PC game first, more like a parkour. You're just trying to catch the balloon. In that game I wasn't involved that much, more like just a technical consultant. And then we made a mobile version. There I was both the designer and the developer. So we used, like, all the characters in the game are based on like real human beings. Like, this one is the real guy. This is a real picture. I don't know if it's understandable. And then with a software called Reallusion, we turned them into the game characters, just like a cartoon characters. And we did for a lot of the things for this. And I will quickly Ah no, I have it here. I think I have it here. Yes. So then this was the mobile game. So it's like a whole demo gameplay video. So the game is two parts where you first presented to some character from the favelas, from the balloon gang, Baloera, they call. And you need to give some decisions. And based on your decisions, you're either gonna keep your life mojo or your flame keep up, or some more support from the society, some more love. And then it's like this two type of gameplay where you again go through the favelas, like classic swipe mobile game mechanic, try to reach the balloon before ruining all your life. And we, at every chance we try to spice it up with more culture from community. And so yeah, in the end of every route you're also encountering a new character, and each character brings you a new challenge and again new decision. And here, I don't know why I pick. So okay, I pick something against the community, and they are of course not happy. And yeah, you have to run away from police if you catch. Yeah, etc. So it is again, you also face with police. They offer you to be the true to society or to police. Yeah, they consider themselves as family. Yeah, they also go after it. There was a little footage after the first selection. They go, if it comes to the ocean, they go with this ships, try to catch them. Yes. So for this game, I think I don't know how long this community can live. They always get less and less. It's getting, the police getting more and more stricter, and it's also a really hard lifestyle to maintain. And so for this project, actually for this culture to live on, and in a, not in a real way, but in a digital way, I think gamifying them, and it has a huge potential. Later we want to really make a whole big concept out of it, make it like a resource management. Really, we want to provide a life that you can live like a balloon gang without making new balloons. So hopefully make it multiplayer, so you can have a community, have a new possibilities of exchange, and new forms of togetherness with the help of technology again. So yes, I want to show some examples of some of the devices, how we can use. Actually, it's so unfortunate that I couldn't I couldn't make it work, the mocap suite here, because of the Wi-Fi. But I think there was some footage you get how it really works. We could play with it if it works. So this was a moment that we were playing with it. This guy is actually this guy owns a theater in Göttingen, but we were making fun with it. Yeah, Annika is a stage designer, and then yes, come on. And then they do this stuff.
Are these scans or are these?
Yes. We made the motion capture, photogrammetry models with like iPad. They have this now, really good also softwares to immediately scan, and in 2 minutes you make a model. That was pretty fast. And then we were recording some animations with the suite, and then I was merging them in the Unity scene. Yeah, we also have the gloves, so it's also really like very precise, like finger movements. We could also include, if we could find the good body model with the, it needs some special format, more nodes, that we could also include the face capture too. But yeah, for those things I need a good modeler. Like I need someone to rig and create things what I need. So now they are both people project, their theater group is called. They are now working with mocap suite. Sometimes they borrow from us the mocap suite, and hopefully for their next project I will also join them. And I will quickly show how we use the depth camera, this one. Like this one, before, when I was still in Macropole, we used, it was also the very older models, and when the VRs were still in the early phases, we were attaching it, like sticking it in front of the headset, so that we could maybe see the hands, and because it can create this 3D real, like real camera view in point cloud. I will quickly show. And here you can see it's actually a 3D environment. You can walk into it, make some like volumetric captures and etc. So we were using with different ways, also like pre-recorded and then moved into an environment, but also for some special oyster eating tests. I'm not kidding, really oyster eating. And I never tasted one of the oysters because the budget was limited and we had to use them for test. And it wasn't tasting that good, I'm sure. So, yeah, and how we used it with Fringe. We were in the middle of Bonn, in Münsterplatz, like the city square, and we had this container there I was basically sitting there using all the devices openly, and people can come and ask and see what we're doing and try some VR. And we prepared them some small, oh no, I can't do it. So this is me. So yeah. So this is how we used it. Like we were trying to merge again the live 3D situation with our pre-scanned environment, and try to give them a new understanding about where they are. So basically, where I was. Yeah, so this is what we did. We scanned a bit in the Münsterplatz around some, this is not one-to-one, we moved things around. This was our container. This is the Beethoven statue. Beethoven is everywhere in Bonn. And some carousel, yeah, so we tried to give them a little thing. So yes, these are some examples what I did with these devices, and I don't know if in a longer workshop situation we could maybe try to make them work, but it also requires a lot of computers more. I really hope that we can again make some hackathon in Bonn, the one you saw in the video. There we have a lot of space and a lot of time. We have almost like 10 VR headsets, and we could maybe stay in touch in the Discord and some other networks, and maybe really create another session at some point. I don't know if I have time to show some more examples. No authorities here. Okay, very quickly, this Exact Cinema I will also show. This was like my first project with Macropole, and I was creating a whole interactive VR environment that simulates what is actual Exact Cinema could look like. So they called also this place Dør, which actually just means door in Danish, I guess, right? Dør. Yeah, this was a great idea to show where it is going to be potentially, somewhere in Copenhagen. And then you are opening the door. Yeah, the mirror is always so desired in VR, because you're losing, when you lose the reflection, you are losing a lot of feeling of reality, and making reflection is very hard thing for also the games, but for VR is the hardest because it takes more rendering power. So we were always trying to find alternative ways, so the mirror was not real reflection. I was just copying everything to the other side with some texture in between that it could look like mirror. So that the objects I throw was, I guess, still around. And then you go to another door. So later, we actually even merged this with real objects. We were using the vibe trackers. We had a real door, blue door, and like with your hand, because after a while, the hand tracking come into. Yeah, they could track the hands. So we start using the real hand and everything. So there was also a real heart model that you can really touch. We put another tracker on top of it. This is an old macropole project. Nothing is. Yeah, this is where macropole got even bigger. Ah, okay, you should see this one. Yes. And so we tried to also simulate how it would be like. So this is a dinner table a family is having, and the experience, you could sit around a real dinner table, and I guess 5 people in total can watch it. Each of them see the same situation with slight changes. So in the end, nobody gonna have the exact full experience, and they will be like, oh, you were rude to me there. I was like, no, I didn't say anything, etc. Yeah. So this was again some macropole project. They were. I know this one. They were so excited that Lars von Trier came to see it, but later he never contacted again. But of course not because of the project. Who wants Lars von Trier? Yeah. Yes, I guess. Yeah, if we have more time, I can show a lot of others, but I guess this is totally enough. And don't know if I have anything else. Yes, that was it from me for today. And thank you so much for your patience and listening to me. Yes.
I'm here as always as the announcer of what will happen next, if you like to. We will have a 30-minute break.